Good morning. What a lovely day. Greetings from Texas. We're about almost 11 hours off Greenwich Mean Time. So that's 11 a.m. here. And I feel mostly rested. I did some reverse snoring during the night. That's where your soft palate. I have a TMJ problem where if I don't prop my mouth open before I go to sleep with my mouth closed, I sometimes do that. But I had a lovely trip yesterday. I actually rode to the Comfort Inn, where I had an excellent room. You saw it. I rode up there in a brand new red Tesla 3. Lovely woman named Faye had Florida plates on it, and everything went smoothly. I got caught up on my hygiene, my laundry. Still didn't have time to really, because I checked out at 10 a.m. and that's when they open up the pool. Still would like the pool to do some exercises. So actually, my low back is a little sensitive to having done so much stoop labor yesterday, because I really needed to get everything organized, throw away anything that's absolutely, get my ditch bag and go bag in order. I'm good to go. And actually, the return trip wasn't a spotless Tesla. It was kind of a worn out older vehicle that was dusty. And the driver, Jose, you could tell I gave him a good tip because he actually got me back here quickly, promptly. Good driving. No, we had a little bit of conversation, and I gave him an appropriate tip. And was really actually on the way. I was scoping out potential overwintering sites. But to tell you the truth, when I got up this morning, of course, the first thing I'm going to do is get dressed, put on a jacket, and go outside. And I could have actually stayed out last night. It wasn't so much the temperature, which got down close to freezing, definitely freezing to the west side of town out in the hill country. But the biggest problem was just the endless battering by wind. But I'm actually the only sinus problems I'm having is from having to step into a laundry room. And I used a fairly caustic, I used the Tide original formula stuff, a couple of. So it's been pretty sweet. I've got everything organized. I've got everything in its place. It's the way I like to be. And when I got back, my wheelchair, 3 expensive blankets, total about around $180 between the 3 of them. Untouched. Everything untouched. But yet somebody, I think I know who it is, because they have a tendency to shop at all these. They left me a little bag of, there was one Swiss Miss hot cocoa. I'm not going to drink that, consume that. It's GMO, Franken food. Ain't happening. Mm-mm. The milk part of it is probably going to be soybean oil. Sugar is going to be probably Franken food, GMO beet. And plus, I just don't like everything's going my way. And the little tiny orange, that's actually, there was an Oriental family that brought me an apple and an orange and an apple wasn't sweet and the orange was bitter. I can tell that's what they're selling at Aldi's. The only thing usable in that bag was one deal of water, and yet they could see that I've got about 3 liters of water plus about a half. I didn't take my body armor with me yesterday, but I know that they have an excellent coffee machine in there that I like better than the Mr. Coffee, because the Mr. Coffee, even when I preheat the pot with hot water and dump it just before I begin brewing, it's a little coffee and tea making machine in the room. That puts out some hot coffee. I had a good cup of coffee I got up after, because breakfast only runs from 6 to 9. The last place I went to, it runs from like 6 a.m. till 10, and a very plush, stylish. But none of that can make up for the fact that La Quinta Hawthorne Suites, they gave me a bed that was absolutely unbearable. Yesterday, I've really blown through. Sorry, I'm checking my time. I blew through them. That took a huge chunk out of my go bag money, and that's my money, by the way. I paid for that hotel room as I did the last one. I think primarily due to the old man who was, discouraging people actively, telling people not to assist me in any way, shape, or form. He's educated. He can take care of himself. Oh, well, that's your perspective, you healthy old bully. I just ran into a man that's a year younger than the guy that assaulted and battered me. And you can tell he's beat up from a life of work. That guy that's running around, you can tell he's really never worked in his life, married money. But yesterday I knew I got another pair of the exact same. I'll show you to you brand new. I really can't shoes need to be made the way Avia made this model. It's a great design. And what I assume was happening, no, they intended it, that all knit top that's bonded into it, and that thin EVA sole and stuff like that, it's all to drive the moisture through the top and for maximum comfort and shock absorption. And I got the last pair of shoes anywhere around here that fits me, and I love them. And I had to put on, because even at the ER room, I checked later, it's those absorbent pads have no cotton in them. It says on the packaging, absorbent rayon polyester blend. I'm sorry, rayon and polyester really don't absorb diddly. And I bought this jacket because even though I don't really like the style, it's got a good inner. It's actually missing the interior cell phone. They used to have a breast pocket right there, and it's not there. They're always cutting corners. But it's the final, and the hoodie isn't that good, but it's the final layer I really need. I still have both of my skull caps. I will be going to the first ever in the history of Pflugerville, the first menorah lighting tonight. It's not too far away. And yeah, I shaved, but yeah, I can see that because I was shaving in the shower, missed a little patch here and there. I'll tend to that today. So at least I've got my facial hair in order. I know the wind and the hoodie is blowing getting to where I need a proper haircut. Although I managed to get the hair in the back. I was actually, the first time in the shower, I was in there for a full hour, scrubbing up, shaving. It was just delicious. Actually, I like their showers the best, because if you do it right, there's absolutely no water coming out. They have just a slight lip there, good drainage. I'd laid down the mat and a king size thick terry cloth towel to make sure that, because when you step out, you don't want to be slipping. The bed was comfortable. Actually, Wasn't as good as the one in the room right above it. And yet during the late night, somebody was having there was a lot of people that were there just to party. And I'd like to mention and recommend Cheddar's Restaurant. At about 4 o'clock yesterday, I just said, what the hell, I can make it over there and back. Yesterday I made, but especially going back and forth to the laundry facilities, which are on the other end of the building. They gave me a room that's really super convenient for me. Ground floor, walk in, shower, everything. And all I got to do is walk out and hit the exit door, which you can only get back in with a digital key, with an RFID key. And so I wasn't really stressing from lack of smoking. Had plenty of really good coffee and tea in my room. And of course, that caused me to wake up several times during the night, about 3 times. And I could tell I was really deep sleeping when I did, because at one point I woke up and realized I still was holding my urinal on top of my stomach and hadn't put it back in place. There might have been a little spillage on the bed, but it's a handicapped room. They really have to tolerate all kind of shit. A little bit of dampness on the bed ain't gonna, the handicapped room, you better be ready for anything, from blood to feces. I really enjoyed Cheddar's. Actually, I gave my server about a 45% tip, because she took the time to come over and sit down, and I got exactly what I want, free of franking food. It was only about a 14 ounce, but perfectly cooked, rare ribeye, fresh hot off those big flat. They're technically like big snow peas, steamed, butter, big pile of broccoli, and just coffee, and that's what was needed. It sure as shit wasn't cheap, but I wanted it because she actually sat down with me for a little while. I got to hip her to the fact that no, she puts garlic in everything. No, it's not good. And she gave me a big bucket in a place that was just overwhelmed, crowded. I could tell that the 2 hostesses up front, and when I walked in the door, they had about 10 people waiting for a table. They were kind of going, well, you could wait in the bar and get served over there. Yeah, I understood perfectly. Please, I have been in a lot of restaurants. I know that they need those tables for those people that have like a party of 3 or 4 or more. Actually, I got a booth all to myself. About the only criticism I'd make of Cheddar's is you might want to dust the top of the lamps and the wooden slat Venetian blinds a little bit, but otherwise the food was excellent. So then, of course, I had another tin of beef before going to bed. I've been absolutely resisting any kind of freaking food. I've gone 13 minutes. Right now it's about it's supposed to be something like 48 degrees, and going to only get up to about 61 today, a frosty 61. But as you can tell, I don't even have my hat on. It's not really that uncomfortable. And I'm actually have 1 layer short on top, but the new jacket it's pretty thick. It technically has the outer shell, inner shell, and polyester fill. So I'm good to go. I would like to mention before I go, because last night one of my last comments before I kind of signed out was a young man suggested that my, what is it now, 207 followers, if they ponied up $5 or $10 a piece, that I would be doing much better financially. And I don't think I want to go through I really don't want to do any Patreon or begging process, and although it's getting dire because I may have mentioned it's actually, I think the last time I had a $20 donation was about 10 days ago. And since then, I haven't seen more than a couple of $3, a few, some $1 bills and a couple of Lincolns, a couple of $5 bills. My total donations in the last 10 days have been less than $40 when it used to be around a minimum of about $50 a day minimum. When the church lady who tried to convert me, she was throwing me down on average at least $100 a day, and that's, if you count material goods, way over that. But her ultimate goal was to turn me into a Christian and not respect my religious genetics, my religious preference. So don't really care, to tell you the truth. If they'll just stop dumping trash on me, like that bag on my seat this morning, I don't like that. You think you're doing good, but you still left me 2 items that I'll use it primarily as a trash bag. I'll save the water, but actually that, but actually the Oriental kid, the Chinese kid who came up and stuff, he gave me a little bag of stuff that was mostly inedible, but then he accompanied it with a Jackson after giving it to me. But I really haven't run into a small orange like that was so inedible, because they're usually mandarins, but it doesn't have the flat tops. Like, I'm talking too long. Anyway, I barely paid attention to the big screen TV last night because I was busy charging up, organizing, chunking, throwing away anything that's getting everything organized into Ziplocs and things separated, and really getting ready for this morning, which is, I had to, after bathing, put on real cotton pad. Actually, I took gauze and folded off the roll and cut it. Put a nice thick pad on there that will last many days, instead of filling up within one day and then eventually leaking. And no, I'm good for quite a while. And as long as I've got plenty of benzalkonium chloride wipes did I mention? Yeah, I think I did. Besides shaving, yeah, I missed some there and a little bit down there. I also shave my armpits. That means all I have to do is occasionally drag one little wipe through there once in a while, and if I continue eating what I eat, I could go just like I am now. Might have to put on I've got one layer, I got one jacket in my go bag and a brand new pair of shoes. Yeah, that's all I have to do is wipe my behind, the crevices of my thighs, my junk, and my armpits, and I will develop, especially with my diet. No alcoholic beverages, no hops, no beer, no spicy foods. As long as I can keep from picking up stains, I'm good to go for 30 days. The upcoming weather forecast indicates that for probably at least another 10 days to 2 weeks, we're really not going to get anywhere near freezing. It's like 40 at night and 60s during the day, and we might even have a 70-degree day tomorrow, something like that. So anyway, I want to thank all of my recent subscribers, or I'm going to maybe later in the day. I really didn't need to, although I still have my soft palate. That's You have the hard palette in front and then the soft palette towards the back. It's still torn up a bit, but I should have shot film going and coming from or more around the hotel and stuff, because it is a hotel. That means all the rooms are on the inside. Actually, I noticed that they have that kind of sound deadening architecture around the doorways, the same way they do in the newer section of UTMB Hospital in Galveston. So the sound goes right past the rooms and doesn't, you know. Anyway, actually, I knew at sunset last night, I could tell by the complete absence of clouds that it would probably get quite chilly during the night. And I don't think it was that really bad. I could have easily handled it outdoors, because without the wind, it's really not a problem. But I'm all cleaned up. I'm stuffed up. I'm finally getting, it actually helped to, there's a little there, and yeah. So it's a beautiful day, and it's a wonderful world.